We've spent a lot of time studying instructional coaching. I did it first at the University of Kansas and then with the Instructional Coaching Group. And over that time, we've learned a lot, partly because we made a lot of mistakes. In making those mistakes, as is the way it works, we learned a lot about what has to be in place for coaches to be successful. We landed on 7 success factors. Now, 7's kind of a magic number. There's 7 numbers in a phone number. There's the 7 colors. There's the 7 notes in a scale. There's 7 reasons why Miley Cyrus hates you. There's all kinds of 7s. So it's kind of nice that we have this number 7, but we would say each of these 7 things is essential. Success factor 1, the partnership principles. Everybody works from a set of beliefs, and the question is, do your beliefs help you be more effective, or do they stand in the way of you being effective? We've studied the partnership principles. If you go to instructionalcoaching.com, you can download the research study. And we've found that when you take the partnership approach as opposed to a directive approach, you're 4.5 times more likely to be successful. The heart of the partnership approach is perceiving yourself as an equal with the person you work with. And we are 2 people working together. We value each other's ideas. We listen to each other. Ideally, think together so effectively that we lose track of whose idea is what, but we are 2 people engaged in a conversation as partners. That's what we call the partnership principles. One way of putting it is this. When you coach, the conversation should feel just like it felt when you were a teacher talking to a teacher, because that's what you are as a coach. You're a professional talking to a professional with equal status, equal power, equal value. Success factor 2 is communication, and in particular, listening and questioning. I love to say, probably because I'm from Canada, that listening and questioning are to coaching like skating is to hockey. You want to play the game, you have to have those skills. It's pretty hard to play ice hockey without skates. And in particular, listening is about internally and externally listening. One way to put it is, when you really listen effectively, the other person knows you're listening. If someone doesn't feel they've been heard, they're right. They should know it. Effective listening communicates that. And good questions are like flicking a light on in a dark room. They're like intellectual fireworks. A great question just makes things happen. And the best questions are ones we don't know the answer to. Best questions aren't leading questions. They're not probing questions. They're invitational, and they help people think deeper. And good coaches need communication skills, and that starts with listening and questioning. They're essential to effective coaching. Success factor 3 is about leadership. Leadership is about leading yourself and leading others. Leading yourself is about getting clear on what your purpose is, and then putting in place what needs to be put in place so you can accomplish your purpose. You have the time, you don't hurry, pay attention, take care of yourself. The second part of leadership is leading others. And a lot of things there. It's about being a multiplier versus diminisher, that is helping people do more. But maybe the most important element of leading others is to balance ambition with humility. To really be effective, you need to be on top of things, ambitious, deeply responsive to teachers. So, coaches who are successful, they lead in both capacities. They lead themselves and they lead others. By leading others, they have an impact. Success factor 4 is the impact cycle. Every coach probably needs to have some process they move through, and ours is the impact cycle. And it's the result of what we call lean design research, continuous refinement, over in particular 10 intensive years of study, first in Topeka, and then in Beaverton, Oregon, and then Othello, Washington. The cycle involves identify, learn, and improve. In the identify part, we identify a clear picture of reality, we identify a powerful goal that is a student-focused goal, and then we identify how we're going to get there, a teaching strategy. In the learning stage, we help the teachers get ready to implement by describing the strategy clearly, making it adaptations so it works for the teacher, sometimes modeling in different ways. Maybe we watch a video, go watch another teacher, maybe we model in their classroom. Then in the improvement stage, what we do is we make modifications and adaptations until the goal gets hit. Probably the thing we pick isn't going to work the first time we try it, so we have to sometimes change the goal, change the strategy, change how we teach the strategy. We keep making adaptations until the goal gets hit. Success factor 5 is data. And data is important for 2 reasons. One of them is we use data to set goals. And so we might set goals around engagement or achievement. Engagement is really important because that's how we keep kids in school. Kids who drop out are kids who weren't engaged. So we need to look at behavioral engagement, cognitive engagement, emotional engagement. The other data is achievement data, and we could be looking at knowledge, skills, or big ideas. We could be looking at acquisition or transfer or connection. Coaches need to know how to gather that data because that's how they set goals. But secondly, and equally important, they need that data so they can monitor progress. It's progress that drives the momentum of the whole coaching process. And without data, we don't know if it's working or it's not working, and we don't feel that sense of accomplishment that comes from watching real progress happen. Success factor 6 is teaching strategies, and in particular, an instructional playbook. I was on a plane about 10 years ago, and I sat beside this person, and we started the talk, and she worked for a major software company. And she said her job was to go to companies and help them learn how to use the software. And because I'm interested in coaching, I said, well, how do you make sure that they understand those strategies after you leave? And she said, well, we leave playbooks. That day, instructional playbooks were launched. I started to think about creating instructional playbooks for teachers. And that's become a very clear strategy. It involves two things. I have a deep understanding of core teaching practices, and I can communicate them clearly. And by creating an instructional playbook, you accomplish those two goals. The playbook itself is filled with tools that you use to communicate effective instruction to teachers, and it identifies the core strategies, and by creating it, you get a depth of knowledge around those strategies. So if you want to be an effective coach, you have to be able to say, oh, these are the strategies I share, and the playbook is designed to help you do that. Success factor 7 is administrative support. To properly support their teachers, there are certain things that are really important for administrators to know. They need to understand what's the theory behind this approach to coaching. What does a coach actually do? And then we have to get clarity around the role of the coach. What does the coach do and don't they do? And how much time are they supposed to spend on different tasks? If there isn't clarity around what the coach is supposed to do, there's a real danger that what's going to happen is not much. You really need to get clear on, here are our priorities. Here's what the coach does. This is the time. There are other things as well, like confidentiality and other ways in which the principal can support the coach. But with admin support, coaching can make a profound difference. I'm convinced of it. But without administrative support, it's like swimming upstream. It's really hard to make a difference when the system isn't set up to help you accomplish that goal. If you leave out the teaching practices, or you leave out how to gather data, or you don't have a coaching cycle, or you don't communicate effectively, it's probably going to be hard to be successful. So we created this set of factors, kind of like a rubric. You can use it as a way to say, where do we need to improve next? Do we need to create a playbook? Do we need to look at system support? Do we need to think deeply about our beliefs and how we manifest them in our actions? That's the 7 success factors. So to give you a way to think through, how can we create great coaching? Because with any of these things missing, you probably don't have great coaching.